is this?
Oh, yeah. What's up? All right.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Oh, my. This is
Okay.
scary.
It is.
We've never been live
Hello.
before. Hi. Oh, hi.
This is really
So-
personal.
Today we are at home talking about the Red Wings. And Rachel and I always talk about the rebuild and how much we love the Red Wings.
I think that
yet-
means you have to speak up a little bit. Just we're getting real cozy.
how much we love the Red Wings, yet how disappointing it is to be in a rebuild season. Not any disrespect to the organization, of course, which is what this is going to be about,
It
basically.
is, yeah.
Kind of like,
You got the Osgood hands going.
ever notice that, how it does that? I'm like, I hate that when I'm looking at myself and my eyes are down here. The camera's up here, so we're going to practice. All right, you want to start?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Let's talk about the disappointment. It hurts a lot. I feel like this is a journal from a 16-year-old. But the Wings are really inconsistent this season. And we literally just spent the last 20 minutes kind of arguing with each other to figure out why. And it kind of came down to a few different things.
Well, the reality is there's no cut and dry answer.
Mm-mm.
That's the
No.
hard part is you can say it's the coach. You can say it's the GM. You can say it's because we don't have Steve Yzerman, which he helps.
The man's
Wow.
a legend. So-
But there's just nothing that we can pinpoint. It's like if we
Yeah.
change this, we'd be winners.
Yeah,
next
it's
year.
not raw numbers.
Right.
No matter how much you look at, everybody wants a logical, cut and dry answer, and there's not a cut and dry answer for this. Because it comes down to the players, it comes down to the coaching, it's development, it's a lot of different things that you can't just go, oh, we need to put up 100 points.
Yeah.
And you can't just hop on it and do it. In the last couple of seasons, they haven't been able to, barely, they haven't made the playoffs, and everyone's scratching their head trying to figure out, are we drafting well enough? Are we performing well enough? Well, the straight answer is no.
Yeah,
And-
we're not keeping up with the teams in our division. Which, if you follow the NHL, if you follow the Red Wings, you know this. Fans are frustrated. The Red Wings are frustrated. The coaching
Mhm.
staff is frustrated. They're trying to figure out an answer in a shorter period of time than we give them. You know, so we're all like, "Why isn't it done now?" They're like, "We need time to rebuild." They're literally rebuilding from scratch. We
Yeah.
lost our captain this year.
Yes.
You know, we're working on veteran players, but we're also trying to get this new talent that we've been
with very little cap space. I think
Yeah.
it's a well-known fact that we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with some hefty contracts that just didn't work out. We're still underneath a couple of them that is, unforeseen issues that we couldn't have predicted,
Yeah.
but there's still some expensive guys that are becoming dead weight that we're paying for, but we can't get out underneath for a while now because we have no move clauses in there
Yeah.
and just kind of shot ourselves in the foot with
I
it.
feel like there's so many players on our team who are underperforming, and I don't want to pick out anybody. I know one,
But I'm going
I know
to.
one who is not though is Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin has a great.
Meaning he's not underperforming.
Yeah, he's
performing
not
really well.
underperforming. He's a solid part of the team. He's consistent. He goes out there and he plays with a work ethic that is admirable and makes the teammates want to go. But my question is, are they playing with a defeated attitude?
I think so. I think they're playing. We were talking about it earlier, where they're playing, at least for me, mentally checked out. They want to win, but they're not playing hard enough to win. And though they might be playing hard enough in their own mind, it's not enough to measure up to the competition.
I was going to say,
have.
or is it that they are playing hard
Mhm.
enough, but the fact that we can't measure up to our own division I mean, think about it. The teams in our division that are up there, we're looking at Maple Leafs, we're looking at Boston, we're looking at Tampa Bay. Those teams are doing phenomenal.
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. I mean, Tampa Bay, they're
No one is catching
their
them this
point
season.
status, their leagues above everybody.
Yeah.
And I know that team when I watch them, they're fast, they're gritty, they're point producers, they're along the boards, they're
But
offensive.
consistently though, where the Wings, they come out and they had, I think, a 5-game stretch earlier this season where we were winning. They were on this high where they came out on the ice believing that they could win. And it was led by the younger guys. And now we see where they've been defeated multiple games in a row, and that's taking a mental toll. And
there's only so many times you can go out there and be like, you know what? Yeah, we got to go win this game. We got to go win this game. But when you're like, yeah, we got to win this game, and you just can't. Like, you're not winning.
Yeah.
You're not.
How long can that go
enough.
till you give up completely and you don't buy into the system anymore?
And I feel like none of them want to. Of course, I'm not like saying none of them. They all want to win.
Yeah.
They go on the ice. They want to win. They want the team to do well. They're in the franchise. They love the team, but they just can't win.
They can't carry it. And I think we were talking earlier too how Larkin is a consistent player. He'll probably get the captaincy. I think that's just kind of understood. It's just going to happen. But we were looking at even when Stevie Y was drafted. He was drafted in, what was it, 87, was it?
83.
It was 83. So it still took us more than 6 or 7 seasons to even be in cup contention. He was carrying the team. He had more than 100 points every single season. So you can't rely on, I know a lot of people are like,
well, he had seasons where they were 80s.
Oh,
I mean, he was consistent.
But he was phenomenal. So you've got a lot of the fan base is relying on drafting number ones, and that player is going to change the whole structure of the team. That's not the case. We didn't make it to the playoffs with Stevie Y performing at that level for several seasons.
I watched the latest interview with Ken Holland about the rebuild, basically after the trade deadline ended. And, he was saying that from what they've seen in the last few seasons is that players that they're developing or that they draft, they're not ready for about 6 seasons is what he was saying. So they're looking at like players at 23 and 24 being ready for the NHL. And it does make me wonder, are we waiting too long?
Yeah. Are we sitting on that talent?
Yeah. But then it's like, of course I trust the coaching staff. They know more than I do. So it's like, would they be ready if they're pushed into it like Evgeny Svechnikov?
Yeah.
If he was put in the Red Wings at the prime of his play career so far, he was injured. He's been injured this whole season.
Yeah.
But if he was put in at the prime getting drafted, would he have been better or worse?
Yeah.
I
think some players, and it comes with knowing your players, and we have to trust the coaching staff that they know what makes these guys tick, what really motivates them. And some of them it is.
They've been watching him for years.
Well, some of them it is just a matter of throwing them in and seeing what happens. But I do think in many cases, we do sit on talent too long. But is that because we have these contracts? We can't move, so we can't pull this talent up. Like we've got guys, I think it was Dominic Turgeon, Axel Holmstrom. Of course, Svechnikov was one for a long time. And we've just got a bunch of guys right now with the Griffins that they could be. I think Holmstrom especially. I think he has come such a long way that if pulled, he would be phenomenal. But is it cap space that we cannot have a roster spot for them?
But is it good enough for the league that we have right now? The NHL is not comprised. Of course, none of these leagues are comprised of bad teams. It's like you're in the National Hockey League, your cup contention. We're playing against elite players. So is our best in our farm system enough for even with development, the best in the NHL? Like how many players have we had that were on the Griffins, moved up to the Red Wings, but did worse, of course, than with the Griffins because of the difference in league. There's a difference in play. There's a difference in speed, I think, and in size.
I think that could probably get flipped though, too. I have heard it said that if we pull these players up and they get 15, 16 games under their belt, but they get 2 points in that time, are we playing them enough? Is the coaching staff trusting them with enough ice time, and what are they looking for? And I know Blashill's taken a lot of hits because of that, because, I mean, obviously Roenick is doing really, really well, but you've guys got like Cholo, who was recently sent back down, Rasmussen, Roenick was up there, Zadina's up there right now. Where are they getting enough time on their shifts to actually improve and to actually measure up? So that also comes back to this whole rebuild thing. Like, do we have to adjust how we view these new players and how much we trust them?
When they're on, are they playing from behind?
Yeah.
Are we already losing in the game in our heads? So they get out there and they're working against themselves. They're working against the line mates who maybe beat down or something like that. And I mean, they're all professionals, but they get affected by that stuff, and it's a big deal to have that. Like, are we wasting talent?
Yeah. I think that when it all comes down to it, the rebuild, obviously there's a set plan. The management has an idea of what they want to do. This is not Kenny Holland's first rebuild. This is his second time around with this. Yeah. And he created the Russian Five. Him and the staff found the Russian Five. So what is it about, like when Stevie was in there, all those pieces had to come together. We had to, I mean, we had some guys,
Great point, though,
defecting from their countries and faking cancer to come play with us. So I think that was Konstantinov, right? They faked like he had cancer to get him over. But it took years to find those guys and to put them on lines that actually work. So is what worked then what is happening now? And if it is it enough? Yeah. And it's hard to say without actually being inside Holland's mind and inside, being a fly on the wall.
Because they see the long-term goal. And I know that as fans, it's hard to see that because you just want to see your team win. They want to win too. And I guarantee you it's hard to be part of a system like that, that is working on a rebuild, and it's going to take time, and it is taking time, maybe more so. Actually, I think we're on track technically. What they were thinking with development, we're on track. It is hard to watch, and you see just teams around you getting better and better, and you feel like you're kind of plateauing, if not declining. Yeah. So I do wonder.
Where you're just playing because it's your job, not because you actually think you're going to win. And I think as the season progresses, it's more and more this defeatist mentality, and without actually sitting down and having a coffee with all the guys.
Well, let me tell you one thing: fans who are saying lose for Hughes aren't helping.
No,
I don't want to be combative. But what I want to say is, why would a team intentionally lose to get a better draft pick? Because first-round draft picks. Let's see, we're looking at Zadina.
I mean, we're doing that without trying.
Yeah, we're looking at Zadina. We're looking at Veleno. We're looking at. I just would like to see the stats behind teams who had first-round draft picks excel in the first year and, have something. But we're in the middle of a rebuild, guys. Like, lose for Hughes. With one more first-round draft pick, it's hard to say that would be the missing link.
I feel like, too, I'm going to see here. Hey, look at that.
Oh, look. Oh, there's some people. Sorry, guys.
Anyways, I really appreciate the comments. I didn't know that box was there.
I didn't know this was happening.
But the kind of piggybacking off of, and there's a lot of teams right now are on like the tank for picks kind of thing. And I forget which player it was, but he said that just be a good team. No team should go out into the season with the goal of losing for a pick. And we've got plenty right now. I think we have 9 or 10 this coming draft, which is great. We can stack them. Holland's been good with stacking picks.
That was his main, in the interview I watched, that's his main goal, because we're clearly not making the playoffs.
But at the same time, this lose for Hughes mentality, it gets back to the guys.
It has to.
It has to. And we're inundated by a couple bad contracts and some guys that, we should probably move them a little bit off the roster. But there's what people fail to see is that even if we were to get Jack Hughes, I'm going to hold my comments on him in general. We're being non-combative.
We're so good at it.
I mean, we've watched him play. He's a good player. We'll leave it at that. But even if we were to pick him, it's a solid 2 to 3 seasons. We're not going to – the way Detroit has always done things is they're not going to just throw someone in the mix. And if they do, it's because they have that talent to get there. Hughes can skate circles around juniors. Yeah, it doesn't mean he can skate circles around grown men.
And they're drafting talent. They're seeing where it can go, and I know it does work in some cases, but I feel like our whole team needs to measure up to the rest of the league as far as compete level. And right now we're not there. And that's why we can't win. That's why we're not. And I feel bad for the team just because it's in them.
You see, like, guys, we were talking about Larkin earlier. Larkin, he puts 100% into his game every single night. Glendening puts 100% in every single night. Anthony Ciu puts about 95, but he still produces.
He does produce.
He does. And let's hold off comments about arbitration, how that all went down.
Hey, Fedorov did it.
But Fedorov was a legend. Anthony Ciu is not. Yet. But with all of that, you can't have 2 guys giving 100% and expect the team to be 100%. You can't have 2 guys mentally carrying the team and mentally bearing that load afterwards. And there's some guys that have really good nights here and there where it's like you really feel like they're on the upswing, but then you got guys like Justin Abdelkader where it's like, what are you doing? Honestly, I mean, again, non-combative, but they're guys that aren't producing and they aren't playing with a drive. You can't rely on the young kids to do that. Yeah, it's a youth rebuild, but
I don't think they intentionally are that way.
Maybe not.
So like we said before, it's not a cut and dry answer. No. It's not a cut and dry answer. And that's, I think, the hardest thing for Detroit followers is that it isn't cut and dry. Yeah. So,
I mean, honestly, at this point, I know there's a lot of people who have been continually calling for, Blashill and Holland's head, and we may not agree with how they're doing things, but it's almost better to default to thinking they're the ones in the business. We are not the coaches. We are not the GMs. And other teams, they are taking the more drastic steps of firing their GMs and firing their coaches and then their interim coaches. And then it's just this endless line.
You do kind of wonder though, because
Wash was a goalie.
I was going to say, when was the last time we made a drastic step like that? But again, now is not the time.
Right.
We're in a rebuild.
Well, even when we had
B, it's almost the end of the season.
Right.
C, I just don't think it's the time.
And even with, I think it was when we were in the dead wing phase, we had Scotty for 3 years, and that man is a freaking legend. And we had him for 3 years before we even got a cup. So even if we were to fire, then it's like, okay, you're completely changing.
Ryan Pearson.
That's very true. There's worse things. You could be a Chicago fan too. Ooh, yikes! We embrace failure together. But even if even if you fire the coach, it's a new coach coming in, or an interim coach coming in, or GM with their culture, their fresh set of eyes, and that might not be good at this stage, because then you're switching up the entire culture, the entire locker room, and the entire way things have been run. So it's pulling the rug out from underneath the guys that have been staples. So you have to decide, okay, if where we're at now is we're just going to deal with it till the end of the season and then make some management changes, or make management changes now and upset a lot of
that
players.
interview with Holland. I'll watch it. It's on, I believe it's on the Detroit Red Wings YouTube. But Holland did say, he said that he thinks that Blashill has done a great job so far, you know, like with what he's got this season. He thinks he's done a great job. And I think that
makes you wonder too, if he's kind of like
has.
passively saying it's the team that's not working hard enough.
Well, the team does do the winning and the losing, of course, but you know, your coach, it's just rough. I mean, we're not part of the coaching staff. So it's,
I do.
mention that, Lena.
I do. Yeah. Hold please.
Yeah, sorry guys, it's getting dark. Sorry, all the people watching.
All of our friends.
I thought this was launching at 7, not now.
Well, it's live.
Anyways, I know, but it says launch. So, I understand.
Yeah. So we're going live.
We're new.
Yeah, it's our first time.
Anyway.
I do wonder too about goaltending.
You think so?
I do. I really do. Because if a team is not confident in their goaltending, they're playing on the defense all the time.
But
they can't be offensive.
There have been plenty of games, though, where the goalie, even Howard, Bernie and Howard, they've kept us in it.
Yeah, they have.
The guys will always say in the interviews after the games, like, you know, they gave us a real chance to stay in it. You know, they gave us a chance.
There are times like that, but with Howie getting old, hernias are bound to happen. And Bernier is a good backup. I think he has some really bright, shining moments. But how long has it been? I mean, we kind of struck out with Mrazek, but how long has it been since we've had a good young goaltender? I mean, what now do we, instead of pulling up a bunch of forwards and Ds, maybe it might be time to look up pulling up a goalie and actually putting them in net.
But this is the first season that we've had
goalies were confident
in our farm system.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, well, us.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not to say, because I think, we've talked to Brian Mahoney-Wilson. He's the development coach for Grand Rapids, and he went down every single goaltender prospect we have, current goaltenders, and what about them makes them the players that they are. It came down to Mrazek being unteachable, and he could not perform any better because he refused to be taught to perform better. So now you got like Patrick Rebar and Hari Sateri, and Sateri was called up on emergency conditions, but why not put him in the net? If you call him up, give him that chance, see what they can do.
If we can't get offense.
Yeah. But does that come from not having confidence or not having drive, or both?
I just think it's an inability to produce right now. You know, and we can't, because
then it always comes back to the but why?
Well, like what we've said is, like, some of these guys just have a natural raw talent.
Yeah.
Max Domi, what is he doing now? I mean, that guy is he's just doing stellar this year.
It's probably because he has so many teeth.
Is it Kucherov?
Yeah.
Who's got over 100 points?
Yeah.
Like,
he's
these
good.
Guys, raw talent.
Yeah.
And that's something I believe Larkin has too.
Out of the rookies, you got Andrei Svechnikov, raw talent. Mm-hmm. And then you've got Jesperi Kotkaniemi. That's a fun name to say. He's got raw talent. But they've also got a system, though. I think they've structured their system. What the heck is going on with Tats?
Yeah. Like, is
Tatar.
it concerning that when we trade someone, it seems they do better? Like,
Yeah, we're like,
is it something about
yeah.
us? Someone he was in our farm system.
It's like we're conditioning them to be better somewhere else.
I just wonder.
It's like
It's
like when you go through a breakup and then the person gets married to someone really good and they have a really happy relationship.
You're like,
and they're really successful, and you're like, you're welcome. I trained them.
I've never had that.
Oh, right, I have. But like Tatar, he's doing a phenomenal job, and he was doing pretty well in Detroit too. But what is it about leaving our system? And that's what we keep coming back to with this rebuild thing. What about our system is keeping us from reaching that next level? What about what we do?
Well, what happened? Did we just get lax when we were winning? You know, we won 2003. We won 7-8 or 8-9. 7-8.
Yeah, it was 7-8. We lost in 08-09.
So
Pittsburgh.
And you know, Babcock was our coach then, and we didn't miss the playoffs. We had Zetterberg, we had Datsu, Cronwall. They were all playing well. We had Draper, 2003, 2008, even I believe. Who great player,
Put
love
Draper
him.
back
Great,
out on the
right?
ice, man.
He could probably do it.
Put Drapes out there.
Yeah, but it's like, and I think those guys they played. Datsuk was a dangler. Z, I think his play changed a lot, of course, after he got injured. But you watch the old Stanley Cup games, and he had so much more fire, I feel like. And
do you think the lack of, and I know we talked about this a little bit before going live, the lack of an actual captain? Because a lot of people said, and I was one of them at the beginning of the season, was like, you know what, we got really good alternates, and there's a lot of veteran leadership in the room. You don't need a letter to be a leader. Look at Larkin. But do you think not having an actual captain has mentally affected
I don't think
them?
so. I think it's just kind of a natural thing.
Ryan, what do you think?
If he's watching still. I think it's a natural thing to immediately put someone in a leader position. And I think
they kind of default to someone who they gravitate to.
Whoever is getting the most, not time on ice, but has that ability. And I know all of them take that very seriously, being a leader on and off the ice. And I just think that you don't need that letter. But
Ryan did say something interesting, is that the lines change nearly every game.
So it's like they don't know who to put with. And it's almost the end of the season.
Yeah.
So
it's like Russian roulette with
but
lines.
I know that happens in the farm system too. If, you know, if the game's not working, they're always changing the lines. And that happens a ton. I do wonder about like
if we're too flippant with it. Maybe it's I don't. It's really hard to say, because I would think if you had a consistent line that was performing well, but I think maybe it's to the point now where it's desperate, where they're just putting guys wherever. They're like, I don't care how you get it, just get a goal. And yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's next to impossible to get that chemistry if you are mixing guys up that much, and that makes complete sense.
And I know I'm fairly certain that Blashill usually tends to if someone isn't being super impressive,
they get a timeout.
They're benched. They're not on the ice to work through it, you know. So you get off the ice not doing well, you sit for a while, and then you go back out with that same mentality. So it's.
And it works. It works for some. It seemed to work for Mantha, but it's not. I don't know. I feel like
that's a coaching thing too. It's a style.
I feel like in the NHL though, you shouldn't. I mean, maybe not as extreme as like throwing benches on the ice or something. We're not going to name names on that one, but you know, but also giving your guys a timeout as if they're children might not be an effective way. I mean, a lot of it comes down to mentality though too, and you have to buy into the system. And it's really starting to make me wonder if. And this is just conjecture. Of course, I have no numbers to prove this, but maybe the players just aren't buying into it right now. Maybe it is the discouragement. It's the lack of performance. That's the mind game, the mental part of going with hockey. You get that high when you're winning, but when you're losing and consistently losing, you have to be the one to snap out of it mentally and start doing something to make it better. It is, especially when you know you're not making the playoffs. So why are you playing?
Exactly. It's kind of like when we wish there was a mercy in hockey, like the 8-1 loss we just experienced. Like, someone pull the plug, you know, like we're going to lose.
We'll trade you one player if you just let us leave now.
I'm not a fan that it's like there's 5 minutes, we can still do it.
So 20 seconds.
I feel it for the guys though when they're out there, and every shift you have to try play harder than your last, and you have to try make something happen.
Yeah, even if there's just no hope with it, especially in a game like that. But when it all comes down to it, at least for me, I think one of the biggest things that I've always gotten stuck on is that we sit on talent too long. We don't pick them up when they're at their peak. We let them just sit there and marinate, and we're not utilizing that momentum at the right moment.
Well, what's interesting now, like in Grand Rapids, we have a veteran problem.
Yeah.
How
you shouldn't have a veteran problem.
Well, I just wonder how
AHL.
that happened. Was it? And it's not a problem. They're all great players.
Oh yeah,
they're great guys. But then you have to sit to a night because you're over your veterans that can be dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it seems backwards.
I feel like with the AHL, it's supposed to be a developmental league, not a league where, there's always going to be those guys who the AHL is as far as they go. I think many of them have accepted that. They've accepted those leadership positions, but the whole purpose is to get them there for a time period and move them up.
I do wonder what keeps them from being NHL. If they're AHL veterans, like, why hasn't a team picked them up?
Yeah. Well, I guess, we could use Ben Street as an example. He was in the AHL for a long time. We traded him to Anaheim. He played with Anaheim, scored his first NHL goal.
He was traded.
Yeah, and Anaheim isn't doing well. So maybe it's a poor example, but he was in the league for, 7 or 8 seasons, and many of them were spent with Grand Rapids, and he's an incredible player, and he has proven he can be an NHL player. So what about him was one that we sat on too long? Eric Tangradi is another one.
I personally think we really lost on Street because Street is an amazing player.
Brian Lashoff. Amazing. We've had him for almost 11 seasons now, and he was drafted by the Red Wings. He's only ever been in the Red Wings organization. He spent I think it's a couple full seasons with the Detroit Red Wings, and then was sent back to Grand Rapids permanently for developing younger players.
He's called up.
But what about, because we see him all the time, and where he's consistent, he makes really smart plays. So what about his play did not meet their requirements?
Unless they're part of the development of the younger guys.
Yeah, now he is. Yeah.
Well, I think
when he was younger, I don't.
True, but it's been that way. So, and that's another thing. I fear sitting on these guys too long.
Yeah, I think, and that's kind of something with. Yeah, and I'm really happy they've seen the talent Roenick has, especially. Joey Hicketts is another one, and he's always going to kind of. We've said it. He's fighting an uphill battle being as small as he is, but Roenick, they saw it, they pulled it. He's performing, and I feel like
he's that raw talent.
Yeah.
He's got that talent.
Yeah, he really hates interviews. He just really hates them. But he's another one of those guys like Hicketts. I wonder if his rookie season was incredible. I wonder if we had pulled him that next season, if he would have been able to perform, because he was on that momentum. He was on that high, and he's proven to be a very consistent player. Then again,
is it good to be on, even with these guys called up? There's no saying the Red Wings would have done better this year.
That's true.
So is it better to be on the Grand Rapids Griffins organization in there, get a cup, because we see a lot of people who get sent down to go for the cup run because we're not making the Stanley, so
Chalowski.
Is it good to do it that way? Yeah. So that way they're not getting, but then again, the NHL experience is important. Is it important next to a team that isn't quite
but
the chemistry you want?
They still would be playing against the kind of competition they'd be facing. So I think if it were me in Blash and Kenny's shoes, just being like, okay, you know what? We've got nothing to lose right now. Let's just pull them up. Let's just swap some guys.
Yeah,
but then again, of course, contracts always have an issue with it.
You do have something to lose because we do have the Calder Cup.
That's true. Of course, not being reckless with it. But in the Red Wings, from the Red Wings perspective, we're not making the playoffs this year. So
we have a suspicion
maybe taking chunks, and that's probably, what were you going to say?
We have a suspicion that that's probably why Zadina was pulled up
at the time.
The time he was, is because it honestly isn't hurting. I want to say that loosely, the Griffins, because of course he contributes. Yep. And I think, if he was there, he would contribute, of course. But it's not like, dang it, he's gone. So I think that, exactly, Ryan. 2 call-ups left this season too.
That always, I hate that.
Another thing though is we've seen the opposite of development work. So, opposite, I will say, because Ferk has been with us in the Grand Rapids Griffins organization.
He was with Carolina before in the NHL.
Yeah, and then we sent him up this season didn't play a ton, didn't produce a ton, came back down to the Griffins, he's producing, but still his physical presence on the ice is not one that's like, oh my gosh, Ferg's on the ice. It is because, he's a great.
He's got that great one-timer.
Yeah, we won with him, and we've got that fan connection, But as far as like, do you notice him out of the lineup? No.
He is, and I do see what I shouldn't have covered my mouth there, but I see what Blash was saying, especially when they did send him down, that he is right now and has been a one-way player. He is the one-timer guy, and everyone in the AHL knows his shot. They know exactly where he's going to be, how he's going to take it, and at the NHL, the shot is extremely inaccurate. And I think that was Blashill's biggest deal when he was up there. He sent him down, work on it, because he's been down in the AHL for years before getting called up by the Wings, and nothing was ever changed. So in that case,
and not for lack of trying.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, they're
but
always working on their play themselves. But getting back to the Red Wings, like we see Rasmussen, he's doing okay. He's contributing this season, but is contributing enough? When is contributing? I don't know.
It's going to come to a point where, despite the leadership, these players have to be responsible for driving the rebuild, because they are the ones on the ice. You can't, if you put Blashill out there, it's just not going to happen. But
we did see him play in the alumni game in Traverse City.
He stopped a couple pucks.
He did.
It was good. And Ken
Holland had a shutout though while he was in net.
Yeah, it was old school pads and everything. It was cool.
Interesting.
But I think with the youth movement, as what it's been called, these young players like Bertuzzi, Antonisiu, Mantha, these guys have to continually drive that, not just some nights. But if these younger guys join up, I think N was called up on emergency conditions and Rass is up. Or is he up?
Yes.
Rass is up. But these guys, despite the just drudgery of constantly losing, they have to be the ones going out there at 110%, not just 100, 110 every single night.
Think about Buffalo. They haven't been a team really to look at in the last couple of seasons. Right now, they're sitting at 5th. I mean, they're still out of they're in wild card, but I think that they've done a kind of rebuild. I don't follow them super closely, but they've got a lot of talent coming up. They had, the first round last season. Clearly,
just wait till Picard is ready.
Picard.
Seriously, that kid's in the OHL right now. They drafted him, and he's going to kill it.
But it's like, okay, so what do teams – we all watched Washington win the Cup last season. Amazing. Good job, Caps.
Tears. Yeah, that was an amazing between them and Vegas.
What is it that you see? So right now on the top of the standings, we've got – Tampa Bay.
She's got a cheat sheet out via phone.
We've got Tampa Bay. We've got Washington. We've got Winnipeg. And we've got Calgary leading their divisions. What do those teams have to compete that we're not having right now?
I would say out of all of them, physical offensive strength, for sure. They're it's not necessarily that they're big, because some of their guys are enormous, but I think when they're on the ice, they feel it. It's not like they're not cowering when they go in to drive the puck. They're really going at it. They're not pumping the brakes. They're not pulling back. And I think they've got that consistent pressure, which obviously there's a lot of other factors in there. But with those teams, they had amazing seasons last season, and I think they're carrying that momentum. They found what works, and they're pushing hard towards that big physical
And that's
presence.
even with changes in GMs. That's with, Stevie Yzerman. He's not with Tampa Bay anymore, which to me, in my naive head, was like, well, that's why Tampa Bay is doing so great. I'm sure it had a lot to do with it. But currently, he left it in a great spot. They're still doing really well. Winnipeg continues to surprise me.
Yeah.
I think their players, I'm always hearing great things. Line A and Hellebuck is their starting, right?
Well, Line A, he's an interesting one, because wasn't he the same draft year as Vili Saariarvi?
I'm not sure about that one.
I want to say he wasn't as well as Puljujärvi, because they're both pretty young. Or all of them are pretty young. But it's like, what about these different – because we were looking at draft seasons too. Like maybe we missed something in the draft. Who did we draft that we shouldn't have? We should have passed up and gone for someone else.
But the thing is, we draft somebody and we have all this time to wait till they're ready, and we've got this development going on. So you're right. It is going to
Mhm.
have to be the players that
Are other teams just throwing them in the NHL and using the NHL as their draft time or their development time instead of like what we do? We draft them. They either go back to juniors or to the AHL unless they're extremely talented, and then it's NHL. But are other teams just throwing them right in the mix and saying, all right, well, sink or swim. So if you screw yourself over this time, you're going back down to the AHL for the rest of the season. So, I mean, maybe we're not giving them the right ultimatums.
I don't
Maybe
know.
we're not pushing it hard enough.
Yeah, I don't, because I think offensive or physical offense, I think is definitely key for their. I know all those teams have, of course, good goalies. I can't recall the Calgary goalie off the top of my head.
Yeah,
I honestly,
I don't follow Calgary.
I was going to say
very
it's not
close.
really a team that I watch. But
Watch, they're going to win the cup this year. Mike Smith. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
I would get my phone out, but I feel like that'd be rude to be sitting here like
Just
this.
like I was.
Oh, look, it's Howie's. They sponsor us. I feel
Go
like.
Howies.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I mean, and these guys, and I do wonder if it is a league thing. So it's like we see a guy who comes from, let's take Zadina. We just looked his record up. He was with Halifax.
Yep.
He had, I want to say it's over 100 points in 80 some games with Halifax, or was it 50 some?
I think it was.
I'm trying to think. They have shorter seasons, I believe.
I think it was like 84 points in 50 something games.
He had a lot of points right before we drafted him.
Also, I feel like our neighbors are burning something. So
apartment living.
Yeah, right.
But so we draft him, and everybody wants to say it's that, fill their pucks or they're not with pucks, that saying, and I'm sure he kind of wants to take it back.
That was a little cheeky,
I
but
know. I think he probably wants to take it back a little bit. But it's a team thing. And the NHL, it's not. Hockey's not a sport one guy can carry the team.
No, it is not a sport for selfish people. Not saying Zadina is selfish, but.
No, but like the Capitals, their winning team, I couldn't name a line that didn't produce. And that's what it takes to win. Yeah. All your lines.
You have to have all good lines. You
all
can't just
your
have
lines
one
have to
line.
produce.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Michael. Nice to see you. But all your lines have to produce, and it can't just be Larkin's line. Yeah. And I think that's what the Red Wings are missing. In the short end of it, they're missing producing. Yeah.
And I do wonder this next draft coming up. We've got a ton of picks. Last season, I think we did a really good job drafting, and stacking picks. We said earlier, Holland's good at that. But the guys that we're getting, I feel like this season, if it were me in the scouting position, I would be looking at guys that would be ready within the next season. Like, okay, it's desperate times now. We're in development, yes, but that gets old. We got to push. We got to build the morale of this team. What's it going to take to do that?
I'm not sure how many seasons they have left of development.
I thought he said 3. It could. I 3 total. I'm not sure, but at the same time, we don't have all the answers. Basically,
surprising.
I know. but I feel like when I looked at the draft last season, there was a couple of guys where I was like, "Yep, pick those guys. You throw them on the NHL ice, they'll fit right in. They'll do no problem at all." And I feel like we did a good job drafting, especially with our goaltenders. We got the couple Swedish goaltenders that I'm pretty stoked about, but. With this coming draft, I feel like it would be one to get talent for the now or for the very near future, because there are some really big, talented players on there that I think if you threw them into the NHL mix, they would match the speed, they would match the physicality. And that's one of the couple of the things I think we're missing. We've Larkin's got speed, Antonicio's got speed, Mantha has his moments. Bert is just a scrappy, gritty, dirty goal scoring guy. He just takes out the trash.
Hey, Bert.
And same with Glenn. I mean, those guys are just picking up the loose pucks. But I feel like I live off my feelings with hockey. I feel like with the way things are right now, they consistently don't have that drive in. They need a spark on every single line. If Blash could put Larkin on every single line, I think he would. So
he could clone him.
Exactly. Maybe we should just do
that.
I don't
think he would. I think in a perfect universe, he would want all his players to be able to rise to the caliber of 110%. And that's not saying change your play style. Every player has a different style.
Yeah.
Every player's style is important, and every player's style gets something done. Like Glendening. Glendening is an everywhere player.
He's a horse, man.
Yeah, he's an everywhere player. And like we see it in the AHL with Turner Elson. He can be a right wing, left wing, center, Heck, put him on defense.
Yeah,
That's
why
probably
not?
fine.
Joey Hicketts is a great goaltender for a
Right.
defenseman. He saved our butt so many times.
I think it's honing your craft too. It has a lot to do with that. And I wish we could just magic wand everything
Do you
better.
think that the older players, we were talking about DeKaiser and Erickson beforehand. I know everyone loves to talk about DK and Erickson. They are consistently
not producing.
I'm sad to see their names on the roster. And they had their place once upon a time. But are we killing ourselves signing these really long contracts for 2 years of good production? Should we sign, instead of 5 and 6 seasons out, 3 seasons?
Yes. Thank you, Ryan.
Yes. It's driving me crazy because I'll look at these, like Cap Friendly is one of my favorite sites. Like
Elite Prospects, can you get an app? Phone app. You look at your site.
Seriously, it'd be really helpful.
You need it.
But Cap Friendly, for real.
Yeah.
Andy Mele.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, what are you saying?
I saw a picture of him with a cowboy hat on. It threw me off. But what I'm saying is I'll look at Cap Friendly and I'll see that we've got these contracts going to 2023. And we've already had them for 3 or 4 seasons. They're getting into their late 20s, early 30s. And I can't say much. I'm in my late 20s. But if I were a hockey player, I certainly wouldn't want to think about it being like, oh, I'm going to be 35 when I'm finally rid of this team. Not that they do, but a lot happens in that amount of time. How much of our money are we sucking up for guys that we're going to sit on in 6 seasons, and then they're going to get 6 minutes a night, and our young guys aren't going to get any time because all of our money is spent already too far out in advance. We're screwing ourselves in that way, I think.
Yeah.
And now it's where we're digging out of it, and these no move clauses and these no trade clauses. Like, why is that a thing? Like,
Why is that?
If someone wants to be, just trade them. Like, what? Because you're then just chaining yourself to someone. If they're not producing, you can't do anything. There's always stuff in the fine print.
Yeah, there's
of course,
always that in the playoffs too. Hockey is such a touch and go sport as far as like you can play the best game of your life and get a bad bounce.
Yeah.
And still lose the game.
Yeah.
And that's not what's happening with the Red Wings. We're not playing the best games. We're not playing the best games. I'm just saying I'm thinking about the playoffs again of last season. I really want to watch those again.
Yeah.
But I think
if anyone knows if that's on DVD, let us know.
I think we're running this thing a little long now.
No.
Yeah. I think 42 minutes.
I'm having so much fun.
I know you are, but we talk about this all the time.
This is time of my life. We're going to talk about it more when we go off anyway.
But I can't wait for this year's draft to watch it. And
I love these comments.
I know, those are fun. But I can't wait till this year's draft. Red Wings, if you're listening, you should pick up Igor Afanasyev.
Yes, please. Everyone I talk to, I tell them that you guys need to get Igor. I talked to 3 scouts this last season. I told every single one, except the Tampa Bay guy, I did not tell him to look at Igor. But that kid, I think if you threw him out on the NHL, I'd say he'd get the crap beat out of him a little bit. I mean, he's kind of cocky sometimes, but he can skate. Probably, yeah.
That'd be
early
so
second
cool.
round. I think, honestly, he's pushing his way to the first.
I think we have multiple first-round picks.
Yes.
Multiple.
I want to say we have 2, maybe.
I don't know. You don't have to look. It's going to take you a while to find it.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
not.
everybody go out and see the Russian 5 movie.
Yes.
It's coming out March 22nd.
Uh-huh.
Celebration Cinema Theater.
We're not sponsored. We're just excited. Yeah.
We're in Michigan.
Only
so
in
I don't know if
Michigan.
you are,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, it's going to be epic and amazing. But I feel like as far as to kind of wrap this thing up, the rebuild, it's not going how anyone anticipated. No one really knows what's going on.
I don't think we all thought about what it was going to take.
What it actually meant to rebuild.
It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time to
it's
rebuild
ugly,
a team.
it's dirty, it's depressing, and just really quite disappointing at times. But I think if we continue to draft well and we get rid of those nasty contracts that
utilize the talent we have in our
yes.
farm system.
Honestly, I think half the Griffins right now could get pulled and do a really good job.
They could get pulled, and we have to, as a team, we have to get back to being more physical, not fights. I'm not saying like go rip your gloves off.
Don't Marchand it.
I'm saying
just
don't
lick everybody.
Lick people. Stop it.
That man's such a rat. But that's what they call him. They call him the rat.
Okay.
No, it's all over the internet.
The
internet's always right, guys.
Anyways, so this is what we're thinking. I think this uploads when we're done. So.
No, we got a couple people watching right now.
Hi, everybody. Yay.
Thanks for joining the party.
We're pretty much done.
Yeah,
now.
but I mean, let us know in the comments and everything. Go to accesshockeymi.com. Follow us on Twitter, accesshockeymi. I mean, we're really into this, the rebuild. We're all part of this. We're all in it together, and
We
it
support
sucks
it.
sometimes, but I support the
I
rebuild.
support it. I
want-
know that there are times your team's not always going to be
Yeah.
number one. It just,
I think the legacy that we have makes it hard to accept that.
the Knights aren't doing bad, but
No.
take Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas was top of their division last season.
They
got
set
to
their
the-
bar really high.
the Stanley Cup playoffs, their first season, and now they're kind of mid-pack. So it's like,
What changed?
what changed? Was it just like this drop off because he wanted to?
I still appreciate that McPhee made his
McPhee.
perfect. Like, he made those teams,
Yes,
and
he
that's
did.
just the man's in the money now.
Yeah, except development there too.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
and they did take Nosek, who I still want
I'm
back.
a little upset about that.
I
just
like
a little-
Nosek.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But yeah, so I mean, just let us know, because I mean, the rebuild is something we're all in this together. We're all crying about it together. We're all getting pissed off together, and we're all watching the draft very closely.
and we're all so excited when they win.
Don't lose for Hughes.
Yeah.
Please.
They're not gonna.
I mean, it's a catchy tagline. You got to admit, lose for Hughes.
win for pride. I don't
What
know.
is that? What does that even mean? Like,
well,
just
win for pride should be better than
Just
lose for
win.
views.
That's it. Just
Well,
win.
We love you guys. We really do.
So thanks for joining us, guys. And
Yes.
we babbled for 46 minutes, and
Wow.
that's actually pretty short compared.
Low end.
Yeah, our other videos are way shorter. But it was nice having you guys interact and chit chat and stuff. Thanks for
Yes.
listening to us drone on about the Red Wings and everything.
Yeah.
And share your thoughts. We want to know, as long as they're not full of expletives and mean stuff.
Yeah, we just love hockey.
Yeah.
That's really.
She's wearing a Miracle on Ice t-shirt. I mean,
My
that's-
friend got it for me in Lake Placid.
That's true friendship right there.
It is.
All right, guys. Well, have a fantastic night. Thanks for joining us. Go eat some dinner, spend some time with your loved ones, and think about the Red Wings.
You're welcome, Michael. Thanks for watching. Tell all your friends.
and your friends. But have a good night, guys.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I want to end it.
Is it still going?